You cast no spell on me. No. You cast no spell on me. Alright, what up everyone?
Are you still getting
you piece of shit.
Time for a new routine. Try Nexium 24-hour, the latest choice for frequent heartburn. Get complete protection. Nexium level protection.
Alright, what's up everyone? All 0 of you watching. Is anyone watching? How the hell do I tell? Doesn't look like anyone is. What is that? Been a while since I've been on here. I don't know if they changed anything or not. But, yeah. Got the night off. Figured it's been a while. This game's as good as any. And this is, Week 6 of the Team Covenant Aces season. We've got Mu0n and Paul Heaver in a rematch of, I believe they played in round 4 of the Team Covenant Open, and that match was thoroughly won by Heaver, who then went on to finish in the top 4, I believe. And Heaver actually lost his first 2 matches, surprisingly, but has won 3 in a row. Basically been on a roll, a higher winning streak than anyone other than Tex. Mu0n's been decent. He's 2-3, but he's a little bit on the bubble here. It's kind of gonna be in some trouble if he loses one, falls to 2-4. And then Heaver will obviously really put himself in the driver's seat if he jumps up to 4-2, but you know, it's only halfway through, so still some time to go. So let's take a look, gander at the list real quick. And as, I don't know who the hell this is. Is this Mu0n? Anyway. Whoever this is always comments on these matchups. And, yeah, Mu0n chooses to throw a left field list at Paul, who's been one of the unexpected left field players this season. I'd like to take a second to model that Jake Farrelly is running. That thing looks like it would be riding a unicorn, way too much fun. Mu0n brings a crazy sauce Dutch Vander. I'm excited to see how RT71 plays out. I'd especially like to see if he can make that proton bomb work. Mu0n has a tool set to kill Jake with proton bomb, ion cannon, lots of firing arcs, but I can't predict it as Paul has a decent and probably better tool set for killing Y-Wings. So, this is Paul's. It's got, yeah, basically the decked out Jake Farrell, who's, you know, basically like the poor man Soontir. Like, per value, I would say Soontir is just a little bit better. Not by a great deal, but, and he's going with, usually with A-Wings, you see one of the other proton rockets or the Chardon refit. He's going to go with the proton, give himself a bit of an alpha strike capability. He's going to throw in the auto thrusters, the unreleased auto thrusters for some survivability there. Should play a role here in that Mu0n has a Dutch Vander with a turret, so that should play a bit of a role. It's going to be hard for Dutch to bring him, or for Mu0n to bring down that Farrell, I think, with that boost barrel roll ability that he possesses. He's got some bumping capabilities there with 5 bandits, but man, it's going to be hard to land some hits on him there. And yeah, like the author said, really a left field list. Dutch Vander, both the named Y-Wings I think are decent pilots, and the Y-Wing isn't really a bad ship. I'd say most guys would say it's a little underpowered compared to a lot of the other ships, but the bomb loadout is something that even once Wave 6 is released, I don't think it's going to be super popular on Y-Wings. It'll kind of be in those niche lists. And then the proton bombs is definitely the least used of the bombs. Not that it's horrible either, but I think most people just feel like for 3 extra points, it's just not worth it. Basically, you're paying 3 extra points just for crits and as opposed to hits with the seismic charges. So that's a little surprising to me, but I guess it felt like you really didn't have 3 more points that were really worth spending otherwise. Then the RT-71, a very interesting droid. I feel that per value, it's pretty good, but just with the way the meta is right now, most people feel like X-Wings are a little underpowered. And then in terms of the E-Wings, you really don't see the unnamed E-Wings run too much. It's usually Corrin and Eton. And I think most people feel like either an R2 Astromech or R2-D2 is typically paired up better with them. But if you consider per value, it's only 3 points. It leaves your modification bar open, and you can choose an enemy ship at range 1 to 2 inside your firing arc, and you basically get a free boost action. So I'd say for 3 points, that's a pretty well-priced card, or upgrade card. So this is what they've gone with for asteroids, and it looks like Mu0n is going to set up opposite corner. And Paul has got himself a little 2x2 here, making it look like Pharrell's going to go in that last spot. Of course, that could just be a little bit of a bait by Paul. But now that Mu0n goes opposite corner, I'd be surprised if Paul puts Jake opposite like he's going to joust. Because then his really choice is only to go head on or just run away, which wouldn't really make sense. So I'd be surprised if Jake isn't placed somewhere on this side of the map. So, you know, everyone says this game's a lot rock, paper, scissors. Which matchup would I rather have? I'd probably go with Paul. Because, I mean, Mu0n, I don't think he has a whole lot of experience running a list like this. Like the author said, he was just trying to go with something way out of left field, which I understand because Mu0n, and with all due respect, he was a great player. Had a good run in the TC Open. I don't think he's quite on the level as Paul, and I think even Mu0n would probably say that himself. So I think he felt like he wanted to just come up with something that Paul wouldn't expect. But in doing that, he's now gone with a list that he really doesn't have any kind of experience with. So, and then like I said, lastly, is that Jake Pharrell is just going to be really hard to kill when Dutch... I mean, I guess your best hope with Dutch is to get Pharrell an arc and then just take your free target lock. Well, I guess the boost really wouldn't matter because ion turrets range 1 to 2 anyway, and you have to be at range 1 too. So I think it's just hard for me to imagine Mu0n being able to put together enough hits to take down these 2 fat B-Wings, an X-Wing, and then Pharrell as well. So I focus my second action, push the limit. I can still boost barrel. They fact that. I don't think... Really? Well, that is news to me. I thought it... I guess I must have missed that when they updated the FAQ. So with Jake, you can perform your one action, then decide to push the limit. And if you use his ability, after you perform... After you perform or assign a focus token, you may perform a free boost or barrel roll action. So most guys say that once you initiate push the limit, you take a stress, and then you can't perform that last boost barrel roll after focusing for your second action because you're stressed. But it looks like they made that clear in the fact that you actually can do that. So that adds a little bit more value to Jake. I always liked Jake. I ran him in one of my squads in TC Open, but... I just felt like it was too much of a glass cannon with so many 360 arcs. But now with auto thrusters, you'll probably see him make a bit of a comeback along with all the interceptors as well. So Mu0n goes look at this super interesting formation he's got here. He's got one off to the left far, and then he's got, I don't even know what the hell you'd call that kind of a formation, but clearly he's practiced this somewhat. So but he puts the bandit off there, and the four tall is over here with Dutch in the middle. And I think he's going to want to try to protect Dutch as long as he can, so he can just keep passing out target locks as much as he possibly can, and then, you know, probably just wants to... It's going to be interesting if he can use that RT-71 droid and get some little synergy there with his proton bombs, and that he can get a boost. I think he's going to set up Dutch for a bit of a joust here, I would think. Maybe not. But if he can get right in their face and boost to close range, these B-Wings can't really move very far at all. And then he tries to get those proton bombs off. Maybe that's one reason why I decided to go with that RT-71 as well. But if he can get it on Jake, that would be huge. The only way he could, you know, would be if Jake bumps and Paul can't boost roll out of there. But if he could get an early crit on Jake and something good like a damage engine, that would really make the difference, but it's going to be tough to do. So he turns the bandit in from the start. And Paul's got initiative. Won't really make much of a factor. Only the bandit shares pilot skill with these three. And so, yeah, not going for the joust, so we should be in for a bit of a long one here. And this is actually the first game I've ever casted of Paul Heaver. And, well, we got a bit of downtime here. You know, the game itself is so subjective when you talk about player skill. Just like any game, like I don't know. I don't really play any of these games, these tabletop games, other than X-Wing. But I'm sure with a game, you know, like Warhammer or what have you, it's very subjective to say who is the best overall. But I think if you were to make that distinction, I think you would have to give it to Paul Heaver when you consider not only is he the back-to-back world champion, which, for the record, I don't think that will ever happen again. I really don't. Someone might win it twice, maybe over like a freaking 7, 8, 9, 10-year span, but I don't think anyone will ever win in back-to-back years ever again. When you consider, I mean, so many bad matchups that you can run into. I mean, his Fat Han list, there's a lot of lists that really have favorable matchups against that. So the fact, I mean, it really is amazing. And he caught a couple of breaks. He very well would have lost to Nathan if time hadn't ran out on him. Even though I believe that was in his initial Swiss matchup, so maybe that wouldn't have mattered. His top 16 match against, I can't remember his name, but he was running that Whisper Fell Doom Shuttle. That was incredibly close, but still all the credit goes to him pulling it off 2 years in a row. Unbelievable. And then, you know, he got top 4 at the TC Open. There was 120 some initial entrants into that. Top 4 at Nationals with a 100+ player field. Just absolutely amazing track record. And just a guy who, I think, if you're the guys at FFG, whether you're the creators or the CEO or, you know, anyone, if a guy who you feel happy that he is the champion, and then the representative, basically, of the game, and being that. Just a real nice guy, down to earth. I've messaged him a couple times on here just asking him advice on stuff. Always gives